So what is the rat race? You probably have some ideas, but let me tell you more in depth about what the rat race is, and most importantly, how can you get out of the rat race? Because you got to escape this thing. The rat race is for rats, and I don't think you're a rat. I'm certainly not a rat, so I got out of the rat race, so let me show you the way. So in today's video, we're going to talk about what the rat race is, what mental things it is that keep you trapped in the rat race. And it's very easy because we're programmed by society to be a member of the rat race. And you got to know what that programming is in order to overcome it. And then how can you reprogram yourself and your life to get out of the rat race? So what's the rat race? The rat race is being trapped, needing the income to pay your bills, needing the income to repay the debt that you take on, and trapped in a job and unable to come up for air. You just have to keep your nose to the grindstone and just keep going at it every day like a little rat trying to find your piece of cheese. That is a ridiculous place to live. I've been there. I've been there when I was early in my career. When I graduated from law school, I paid for law school, so I had quite a bit of debt on my way out. And I got out, and all of a sudden I had big loan payments. I got married. I had a mortgage payment. I had all the bills that are associated with that, and I was truly trapped. But I made the escape, and the question is, how did I do it? The first thing is I started thinking about it differently. Whatever you focus on, whatever you feed your brain, whatever you think about is going to consume your life, and you're going to go along that track. It's kind of like being on a railroad track. So the first thing you have to do is realize you are not truly trapped. The only thing that keeps you trapped over the long term is yourself and your thinking. So first of all, dissociate yourself from being trapped. And what you need to do is take a little bit of your time every day and think about, what can I do that can help me get out of this rat race? And the answer is, you need to do something that replaces the income that you need to pay your month-to-month bills, to pay your car payment, to pay your mortgage payment, to put a little money into savings, to pay your grocery bills, so that you can dial that in and just have that taken care of. So what you need to do is have your own business that generates that income at first on the side, but a business that has the capacity and the possibility to grow big enough to not only replace your income, but to greatly exceed it. Because one thing that I know for sure, as an attorney and as someone who knows a lot of wealthy people, virtually everybody that I know made their money from being in their own business. I would say that's at least 90%. I know a couple of people who did different things, like a couple of ex-pro sports players, a couple of private equity guys, but for the most part, your John Q. Public, the guy who looks like an ordinary guy or the one who looks like an ordinary girl who has made it and is living truly a wonderful lifestyle, they have their own business. And these businesses don't have to be fancy. It doesn't mean you have to invent the next NVIDIA microchip and become a microchip company, or the next software that takes over the world. It's not like that. Working class, day-to-day businesses can make a lot of money. We're talking simple things. Plumbing businesses where you have the plumbing business owner who has 15 plumbers working for him out there all day becomes a multimillionaire, for sure. People who own leaf cleaning businesses that have people working for them become multimillionaires. It's those people with very ordinary, seemingly banal businesses that are not amazing that make great money because they're providing a service, and most importantly, it's the most important thing, their time is leveraged. Now, what does that mean? It means they're making money from other people's efforts. Now, I'm a business owner, and as I'm sitting here recording this so that I can talk to you and hopefully show you a better way, I have people out there in my business dialing the phone looking for customers, so they're cold calling. I have other people that are getting the leads, meaning the people to call, and I have people that once we cold call someone and they say yes, doing the service and creating the money for the business. So as I'm sitting here speaking to you, even when I'm recording it, even when you're watching this, whenever that might be, my business is operating and I'm making money every hour of every day. What's so good about that is not that you should celebrate me, I have nothing to do with it. But what you should celebrate is that it is possible for an ordinary person in America to make money from other people's efforts. And the most important thing, and the thing for you to know, is you want to do something where you can leverage your time so that you're not selling your time. Instead, you're selling your organization and the knowledge that you have and the structure that you have to make money. You really need to get away from selling the time, because the time is the core of the rat race. People in the rat race are selling their time. And that means you're stuck in this little maze because you got to be in there for a certain number of hours a day. 8, 9, 10 hours a day, you need to be in the maze. And if you're not in the maze, you're not making any money. And we need to dissociate from that. So you need to decouple your earnings from your personal efforts at any particular moment. Now, does it mean you do nothing? Of course not. I'm busy each week. I'm taking care of managing my staff. I'm looking at new opportunities. I'm guiding the business. I'm kind of the captain of the ship with my hand on the tiller, just steering the ship. You need to do that. So the question is, what would you do as a side hustle that could grow into something bigger? And what you need to look at is things that have the growth opportunity, things that you can afford to start, probably because it's a service business. I'll get into that in a second. Things that you can start and things that you can grow ultimately to be big enough to be a good business. And the good news is almost anything can do this. So what you want to do is do something that fits in with your skill set, that fits in with your experience, that fits in with things that you like to do. Then start doing it and think about every day, how could I get someone else doing parts of the business that I can make money from their efforts as well as my efforts? And let's say, for example, that you want to start a really simple business. You're going to be doing dog walking. So what do you want to do? Well, first, you want to start doing some dog walking on your own. It may be that at first you offer some weekend and evening dog walking and sitting services. So you go out, if people want to go on vacation, maybe you take dogs into your house and you'll take care of them in your house for the week. If it's walking, maybe you'll come at any time between 6 and 10 at night. You'll walk the dog, you'll feed the dog, check on the dog, and go out. You start doing that, you get yourself a base of customers. You understand what your costs are, you understand what the difficulties are, you understand what your customer base is, and then you start getting a system down, meaning you start writing down what are our policies, what are our procedures, like, oh, we need a release that if we have to take the dog to a vet, we can take the dog for a vet if we're going to have it for weeks. Okay, so we do that. You start setting up those systems and processes, thinking in your mind, as I grow this business, how can I make sure that it's systematic and organized? And then you start bringing in your first employees. So you start bringing people in and having them take over the delivery of the service. And while you're doing this, you're still working your regular job. So that is where your income is coming from. You're just in the research and development phase of your business. And in that phase of your business, the income isn't what's important. What's important is getting your systems and processes and procedures working and get something that's repeatable and scalable. And you bring your first person in and you see how it works out. See how the wage scale works out. See how, is it enough money for the person to live on? Can you make this into a good business? Once you do, they say, okay, so I can get a dog walker and they can handle 25 customers on average. Because some people are going to want dog walking that day, some won't. So, okay, that can be 25 customers. You know that. Say, okay, I have one person, it's 25 customers. On average, I make $300 a week from their efforts. That's wonderful. Now let me get another person. And then you just start like Lego bricks building a wall. You start putting bricks in and building your wall of service providers. And so a business that you might think is just so simple and silly, how could you make anything with it? Like dog walking, you could do great. What if you had 20 people out there walking dogs? What if you built a franchise that could sell people business systems so they could have a dog walking business? What if you could go national? There are so many simple businesses like that that are national. I'll just give you an example. There's one guy that just has dumpsters that they'll drop off at people's house and then they'll fill them up. And they've made this into a national franchise worth tens of millions of dollars just in picking up trash like that. These simple businesses where you're providing a needed service that are not very well organized. These things are not, they tend to be like one person without a lot of background or knowledge, less knowledge than you have right now with me telling you about this. And they don't understand business. And business really has just a couple steps to it. One, can I get leads? Second, what's it cost me to get leads? Third, how many of those leads do I convert into customers? So say that it costs me $20 to get a lead and I convert 1 in 5 to a customer. Well, I'll tell you then a customer costs you $100. You got to get 5 leads at $20 a lead. You're going to convert 1 to a customer that costs you $100 for a customer. Next question, how much is a customer worth over the lifetime? Maybe the person stays with you in dog walking for say 3 years. And maybe maybe you make $100 a week from them over 3 years. Well, that person's worth 52 times 100, so $5,200 a year. Times 3, that's worth $15,000 to get that customer. Then you say, what's it cost me to provide the service? Let's say that costs you $12,000 to pay a dog walker to go over there. So each customer is worth $3,000. So the business math is, I spend $100 to get a customer worth $3,000 over 3 years. And if I wanted to make $300,000, what do I need? I need 100 customers. And that's business math, and that's the way business people think about it. One of the mistakes people who are new to business make is they don't want to do the marketing and advertising because they don't develop the numbers. They don't know the numbers in their business. You can watch any episode of Shark Tank. That's one of the questions they'll always ask. What's it cost to get a customer? How much is a customer worth over time in terms of gross revenue and profit? Those are all the things that we do. So when you think about business, think about simple things that you could provide. Service businesses primarily because they're very low cost, startup costs. They're easy to try, and you can try them on the side. And if you don't like it, you can drop it. If you start your dog walking business and don't want to do it, you just drop it. Now, I do a business called Overages. I don't have time to get into that today. If you want to know more about that, that is a business you can absolutely do on the side. You can start it just like I'm talking about. This one, you're not actually going out anywhere. You don't need to have a lot of employees, and it's very low cost to start. If you want to learn more about that, I've recorded a 15-minute video that's intro to the Overages business, explains all about it. That's one possibility. Go check that one out. Maybe that's your business. If not, maybe something else. But think of it in terms of something you can start on the side at not too great a cost that you can run up until it's replacing your job income, and then you walk away from your job and expand your business. And trust me, ordinary people can be amazing business people. You just have to think about how can you structure your life so you can have other people's efforts feeding your bank account. So this is Attorney Bob Diamond. Check out the link in the description below. Just click on it and you'll see my short intro to the Overages business video. And who knows, maybe that will be your next business.